Topping today's news, police quick to the scene of a fatal shooting today. Tourism numbers for 2022 looking impressive. The Prime Minister shrugs off suggestions by the opposition to shuffle his cabinet, and a protest planned against the government's handling of the illegal migration problem. Good evening, Bahamas. I'm Jareno Saunders. This is your JCN Evening News. It's a pleasure to have you join us. Commissioner of Police Clayton Fernando has warned that there will be zero tolerance in the force's approach to crime and more boots on the ground with saturation patrols in hotspot areas. Today, that strategy paid off, and while they were not able to prevent the death of another young man, the suspects were quickly apprehended. We hear more in this next report. Quick action by police today resulted in the arrest of 2 murder suspects following another brazen daylight shooting in the eastern New Providence area, the second in a matter of days. A young man believed to be in his early 20s was gunned down on Joe Farrington Road sometime after 11 a.m. Here is Officer in charge of the Criminal Investigation Department, Chief Superintendent Michael Johnson, with details in this latest killing.
Officers were on patrol in this area, in the area of the Plaza, Ivory Plaza, when they heard gunshots. The officers went to investigate and observed 3 males chasing an individual, firing shots at him. The officers engaged these gunmen, shooting 2 of the suspects.
While the third suspect was able to make good his escape, Chief Superintendent Johnson says the police were able to capture the other 2 suspects with the help of residents in the area.
The officers then observed the victim that was on the ground, who appeared lifeless. EMS was called and they came and checked the body and saw no signs of life.
On Friday, Commissioner Fernando shared where in 2022, based on their investigations, some 35 murders were committed by individuals who were on bail for serious crimes. One of the suspects shot in relation to today's murder was also out on bail for murder.
Again, we are saying that these are persons who are on bail for serious offenses and continue to commit crimes of this nature. So again, I must give kudos to those officers. They attached to the Elizabeth State Police Station for their quick work, bravery, and quick response.
According to Chief Superintendent Johnson, based on information that criminal detectives are working with, he is confident that the third suspect will be captured. Have you ever noticed that here in the Bahamas, some of our police officers do not carry a firearm even while on duty at certain events? Well, according to the National Security Minister, this may be a thing of the past. Our Destiny Johnson has more in this next report.
In the not-so-distant future, all officers of the Royal Bahamas Police Force may now be allowed to carry a gun. According to National Security Minister Wayne Monroe, following the revelation by Commissioner of Police Clayton Fernando in his Crime Statistics 2022 update that there has been an uptick in police-involved shootings. When asked which police sectors are allowed to carry guns, Minister noted that the top cop provides officers guns based on their duties. However, he noted that the government is seeking to ensure that every officer is supplied with a gun.
Public, and you may recall that there was an instance in which an officer assigned to the ceasefire unit shot and killed a man in his house, in his yard, an armed man who was attempting to rob his wife of her vehicle at gunpoint. And he disarmed the robber and shot and killed him. Well, what I found alarming about that is ceasefire officers are armed because they're frontline officers, but when this officer was at home, he was not armed. And could you imagine what would have happened? How someone like me would feel if an officer who we entrust to be armed, to confront the most dangerous elements in this country, goes home, doesn't have the ability to protect himself and his family simply because he's off duty. To me, something is fundamentally wrong with that.
Minister Monroe asserts that that incident was a wake-up call for him, and he is now in talks with the Commissioner of Police, Clayton Fernandez, on the issue. The National Security Minister contends that when persons decide that they want to be a menace to society, society cannot stand idly by and let it happen. Now, there have been concerns about police officers abusing their power with the general public. Minister Monroe says that the public has a right to complain about the police overstepping their boundaries.
When I came into office, I was criticized for telling the public that they have a right to record the police, which oddly is exactly what the Commissioner of Police says, that the public has that right. If you record the police doing something that's untoward, you have an obligation to come forward with the recording, because nobody will be judged on a part of a recording. So if you and I are having a conversation and you choose to forward only a part of it, people will not clearly advance the judgment on that. We encourage the public who record these events. If you wish, you can put them on social media, but we expect that you will do the decent and honest thing and make the full recording available in the investigation so that everything is seen.
Minister Monroe also addressing the issue of whether police should shoot to kill or shoot to injure, following backlash from the public over recent comments by Police Press Liaison Officer Chief Superintendent Chrislyn Skippings, who told a local media house that police do not discharge their weapons for warnings, but to kill. Minister Monroe gives this warning to those who are on the wrong side of the law.
I can't call on officers to willy-nilly risk their lives without the right to protect themselves. The public should be advised, the governor of the Turks and Caicos, before we deployed them, they're told the criminal element that if they confront the police, they ought to get on the ground to make it clear they are surrendering. No human being confronted with a gun, trained and armed with a gun, to confront the threat of a gun is going to do anything other than seek to neutralize the other person with the gun. So young men and mothers, we urge you that walking around with a gun, having a gun, puts you at risk of dying, and so we're encouraging you to stop doing it, to put the guns down.
Minister Monroe contends that if you confront the police with a gun, the likelihood of them responding with lethal force is very high. He advises that if you are in possession of a firearm or know persons in possession of one, you can contact Crime Stoppers at 328-TIPS to tell police where the guns are located, as police are always finding firearms. For Jcn News, I'm Destiny Johnson.
Thanks for that report, Destiny. Tourism numbers for 2022 eclipsed the record set for tourist arrivals in 2019, and tourism officials are excited. More than 7 million tourists graced the shores of the Bahamas in 2022, signaling a return to pre-pandemic numbers. Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Tourism, Investments and Aviation, Chester Cooper, says the fact that the numbers have exceeded expectations in 2022 was no accident.
It was a phenomenal year in terms of our overall arrivals. More than 7 million. The only time we've done this before is in 2019, which was a record-setting year. This is significant for tourism. It's significant for the economy. It's significant for the people of the Bahamas. We don't celebrate numbers for the celebration of numbers themselves, but we believe tourism is really the catalyst for national development. It is really the driver for Bahamian empowerment. This is how Bahamians continue to be well off. This is how we will continue to create businesses.
In total, 7,706,000 visitors came to the Bahamas last year. Deputy Prime Minister Cooper is also forecasting a promising 2023 as interest in the Bahamas and the country's brand have never been stronger. In 2022, the average daily room rate outperformed every corresponding month in 2021. 55% of tourist arrivals were first-time arrivals.
We've increased our numbers and improved over 2019 in many of the major islands of the Bahamas, in Andros, in Cat Island, Eleuthera, Exuma. Grand Bahama and Abaco are trailing slightly. They're around 80% of pre-Dorian, pre-pandemic levels. So the reality of it is that our 16 island destination message is also working.
In 2020, 1.7 million tourists visited the Bahamas and 1.9 million in 2021. In 2022, 1.4 million visitors came by air and another 5.5 million visitors arrived by sea. Nassau and Grand Bahama remain the most popular destinations by air, while Nassau and the Berry Islands remain the most popular destination by sea. Deputy Prime Minister is proud of the work put in by industry professionals across the board. Prime Minister Philip Davis standing his ground as he defends his cabinet members amid criticism by the Free National Movement leader Michael Pintard, who is reported as saying that Prime Minister Davis should consider a cabinet shuffle, as it is quite evident that several ministers in the Davis administration are unsuitable for their portfolios and should be reassigned or replaced entirely. Mr. Pintard listed Works and Utilities Minister Alfred Sayers and Housing and Transport Minister Jobeth Kobe Davis as the main ministers who need to be removed from their ministerial portfolio effective immediately. He also called for Grand Bahama Minister Ginger Moxey to be removed as well. Well, Prime Minister Davis not holding back, as he had this to say.
My response, that they should stay out of my business. Stay out of my business. It is my administration, and I determine who and who's best suited and fit for the advancement of the vision that we have to achieve. We have a blueprint for change. We are on track to fulfilling those commitments and promises we made, and I would determine who will do that, not them.
When asked by reporters whether he was considering the matter, he said, "Not at this moment."
Even if I am, that's not your business, right? And at the moment, there's no consideration for at this moment, as I stand here, for the reshuffling of my cabinet.
It is not uncommon for a prime minister to reassign cabinet roles to various ministers. In 2018, former Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis reassigned 4 of his cabinet ministers just 14 months into that administration. A message circulating social media that the Minister of Labor, Keith Bell, has announced he will give asylum to all Haitian immigrants who are threatened by hostile gang situations in Haiti is false. Add to that, it is also being said that there will no longer be a need for work permits. A statement released by the Department of Immigration on Monday says those claims made by leader of the Coalition of Independents, Lincoln Bain, are directly opposite to what Minister Bell announced during a special press conference held on Friday. The statement said that at the briefing, which was called urgently, Minister Bell declared that in light of recent instability involving the government in Haiti, the Bahamas' government has made decisions that will affect migrants from Haiti. Those decisions include existing and new permits to reside applications for Haitian citizens will only be considered on a case-by-case basis, and approval will only be granted in the most exceptional circumstances. No new work permit applications for Haitian citizens will be processed until revised protocols are introduced to verify and authenticate documents issued by the Haitian government and the Haitian National Police, and all existing work permits, applications, and renewals for work permits will be subjected to the most vigorous review and scrutiny. These announcements come on the heels of the Haitian National Police rebelling against the Haitian government, blaming them for not taking action against gang violence. Over the past several months, Haiti's capital, Port-au-Prince, has been paralyzed with gang violence, protests, and unrest. And finally, in this segment, leader of the Coalition of Independents, Lincoln Bain, this morning responding to that statement released by the Department of Immigration on Monday, accusing him of spreading falsehoods in regards to statements made by the Minister of Immigration, Keith Bell, who revealed new policies at the Department of Immigration in relation to Haitian migrants. While Mr. Bain does not appear to have an issue with the government's decision to stop the issuance of work permits for the foreseeable future, he takes issue with the government's announcement to issue permits to reside to Haitian migrants who claim their life is in jeopardy due to threats of gang violence. He refers to this as asylum. Mr. Bain says this would allow millions of Haitian citizens to apply for a permit to reside in the Bahamas because all of Haiti is under the threat of gang violence. He asked the government the following questions.
Minister Keith Bell gave examples of persons who were threatened by gangs or persons hiding from gangs. This is his exact word. hurt, persons who lost their parents, etc. The problem with that is, how do we determine that what these people are claiming is the truth? That is what the concern of the Bahamian people are. So if you say that someone comes and says they're threatened by gangs, that they will be allowed to be here, then how do we confirm that they're threatened by a gang? There's no government, there's no police report to get because even the police are in protest. And so it changes the circumstances, whereas no work permits will be given moving forward. In this circumstance, they don't need work permit because now they can get a permit to reside. All they have to do is say that they are threatened. And how do you confirm this?
Mr. Bain does not believe the government can be trusted with the power to grant permits to reside without any checks and balances. He has also taken issue with the government continuation of issuing visas to Haitian nationals at this time. He claims the visa process is being abused. Mr. Bain says the Coalition of Independents and its supporters will stage a peaceful protest in Rawson Square on Wednesday morning when members of the House of Assembly are expected to return to Parliament. He says they will be asking the government to seriously address the illegal migration situation and the alleged corruption that fuels it.
We want the government to know that the Bahamian people are fed up. And we're calling on all of the Bahamian people, regardless of your political persuasion, to come out tomorrow and let the government know that we are displeased. We are coming out as Bahamians, not as politicians, not as activists, as Bahamians to say that enough is enough. We have to save our nation. We're tired of the tricks. We're tired of the political tricks. We are coming out. We will be there. We're tired of what has been going on.
We'll take a break here. We'll be right back after these commercials.